Hi guys, and welcome to this week's collective reading. I have sat with the cards and brought through the full message, which is how I always do my reading. So after I shuffle the cards, I don't dive straight into the reading. I always sit with them for a little bit to bring through a whole message before I divide it back into the parts to deliver it. Yeah, and I feel like I have quite a lot to say, so I don't want to chat for too long. I want to get straight into the cards. So our first card here is of emergence. And if you watch my readings regularly, you might recognize it as this card came out in last week's collective reading here on YouTube. And if you watch the shuffle, it popped out of the deck pretty much instantly when I went to shuffle. So what I thought I would do is I'm going to go ahead and read a little of what was written in the book for this card, because I don't think I did last week, and it's quite beautiful. And I feel like as it's come out again, maybe we should talk about it in a slightly different way than what I did last week. So this is straight from the book. It says, leaving behind mind limitations. Emergence heralds receptiveness and expression of sensuality. The senses emerge as infinite organs of bliss through subtle enjoyment, released if there is need for any emotional fix. Can you feel the many frequencies of light that you are receiving in every part of your body? The emergence of joy guides you into these feelings of light, showing that it is safe to merge with these loving vibrations, these reminders of blissful dimensions like Lemuria. And I think there is so much in that. The wording is quite, I know it's quite, it's going to be harder for some of us to connect to because it's talking about things like Lemuria, which I do actually very much believe in. But I know some of us will have a harder time connecting in that. So I've skipped quite a lot from the book, but I'm going to keep reading another paragraph that I did want to read. It says, Lemurians get their knowledge through the process of emergence. So really quickly, I should interject. In case there's somebody watching this who does not know what Lemuria is, it's considered another epoch, another timeline, right, in our past where the earth was in a different part of her evolution. So the land of Lemuria, right, our continents would have been different, and our physicality was different, and our relationship to the earth as a whole was very different. So this is a completely different time where we were seen as being more in tune with nature. Like we actually had a connection with nature, spirits. We were just living in a completely different frequency. And there is a lot more than that, but I'm going to leave it at that small generalization for now. And that's something that you can dive into and try to learn more about if it's interesting to you. But moving on, or I'll repeat that last part. Lemurians get their knowledge through the process of emergence, of connecting to all beings, animate or inanimate. So that's what I was saying, they can connect with like plant spirits, you know, crystals, anything, right? Like I've got a feather here. You could speak with the feather. To some people, I know that will sound crazy. I'll just tell you that I've experienced crazier. Sensations are connections to etheric dimensions that would love to show us all of the iridescent colors that originate from pure light, When you are truly using your senses, you can see all. Allow yourself to see through the eyes of a newborn. Allow your senses to have a complete reset. So there was a lot more in the book, but that's all I really wanted to read from it. I'm going to move on to the next card, but we're going to keep it, everything keeps coming back to this. So we, like I said, it came out in last week's reading. Clearly we haven't talked about it enough, or it hasn't fully been received. It hasn't fully sunk in. So we are going to keep going back to this. So if you still feel a bit confused about the message, that's okay. We're going to keep talking about it, but I need to move into the next card to get there. So next we've got the Three of Air. Now, once again, the Instagram collective reading, I wrote this down from the 21st of September. So if you go to my Instagram, which is also Nath's Garden, spelled the same way as it is here, on the 21st of September, I posted a collective reading because I do midweek collective readings there, and then I do collective reading on the weekends here for the week ahead. So on the 21st of September, I did a collective reading where, not this exact card because I was using a different tarot deck, but this is the Three of Air, and the Three of Air for that deck came out. And that's not such a big deal, except the meaning of how that card came out and the card that it came out with was very linked to all of this. And that reading was the, that Instagram reading was the reading that preceded the reading that this emergence card came out from, in. So I do feel like it's worth bringing up. And I'm going to go ahead and try my best to remember to link it below in case you want to refer to it, right? But in that reading, the Three of Air came in with a message of healing the earth through healing ourselves. And this is that same energy and message coming up again, right? And this isn't surprising, right? Because it's the same collective and I'm working with a small group, right? So this is just bringing up the same messaging until it's actually received, right? We might get advice, but not follow through. And I found, like, in my personal readings that this is something that my guides will do quite often. If I'm ignoring something that they're trying to tell me that they feel is really important, right? They'll just keep giving me the same message. Like, I can't be forced to follow their advice, right? But if they know that it really serves my highest good, and if I'm constantly asking for guidance that serves my highest good, and I'm ignoring whatever they're telling me, they're just going to keep telling me because they're like, one day it's going to click and she's going to follow the advice. This is what I feel here. We're getting a lot of repeat messaging so that hopefully it clicks, because it hasn't yet. Right, so this is also the Three of Air energy, but this deck follows a different system. So this card has a really different energy attached to it than what it did in the Instagram reading that I'm talking about, right? So this card is all about knowledge and education and learning through life experiences, right? But paired with this emergence card, this is not the typical way that most of us would think of learning. And this does actually kind of bring in the more traditional energy of the Three of Swords or the Three of Air into this reading, where we are learning by allowing our feelings to rise, to emerge into our physical body, right? To allow ourselves to feel them. So in the traditional Three of Swords or Air, it points to working through grief and trauma, right? But with this particular three, combined with emergence, it's reminding us that we can learn through all emotions, not just grief and trauma, right? Because this card doesn't have any focus on grief and trauma. It is just about learning, like learning through experiences, right? And we're being asked to start allowing ourselves up here to live in a state of joy. Not saving it for the weekend, right? Truly living. It says on the card right here, truly living. Feeling like you're dancing through the days, right? Giving yourself permission to see the beauty that exists in our mundane life. Because there's actually nothing mundane about it, right? Everything is magic. When you allow the saturation of the beauty of nature to be perceived, right? A blade of grass is literally magical, right? And this energy of choosing to shift our perception of how we see our day-to-day life, right? That has really been a theme for quite a few weeks now as well, right? And that's a perfect segue into the next card of Observe, right? It says right here on the card, loving eyes see all, equanimity, see the truth and step back, right? And this is all about when we're feeling overwhelmed by things, being able to find that moment of composure, right? The equanimity. And in that moment, when you can catch your breath, right? Calm down, come to your senses. That's when you're able to zoom out, right? Because owls have amazing eyesight, right? They can see in the dark, they can see from a distance, right? So we can zoom out and see how the situation is serving us as part of a bigger picture. And this absolutely takes faith on our part, right? I totally understand that when we're going through it, when we're living through what feels like absolute utter chaos, right? It can be hard to step back and observe and have faith that these moments are helping us in some way. But, you know, these cards come out like this and they give us repeat messages over and over and over again, right? To make it easier to believe, to make it easier to have faith, right? Because otherwise it's just like one heck of a coincidence, right? I mean, at some point, I really feel like at some point it just becomes easier to believe in something bigger, right? Something bigger than us than to ignore it. So have faith, right? Because when you can lean into faith, this ability to inspire confidence from within yourself, this serves this emergence process, right? It enables us to navigate life from a higher vibration. And I am not a part of this like high vibes only crowd, right? I do think there's a place for all vibrations, right? But in general, we want to face our days in a state of happiness, right? Enjoyment, excitement, awe, wonder, right? So yes, we all have bad days where we're sad or perhaps just a bit melancholy, where we might feel stressed or anxious, and that's okay, right? But we don't want that to be our regular state of being. And if you feel like it is your regular state of being, then that is all the more reason for you to sit with this message and really try to receive it, right? Try to take something from this message today that enables you to walk your day-to-day life in a more hopeful way, right? So our next card is of duality. And this is meant to be a depiction of Mary Magdalene. And this card is all about recognizing and actualizing the dualities that exist within us. And we're really being asked to explore all of these aspects of ourselves, right? Our masculine and feminine, our physical and spiritual. This is the emergence energy of finding the fullness of who you are. And this fullness will link you into your abundance, right? Down here. Because abundance is very much a state of being. Abundance is really a feeling, right? It's not physically what's around you. A lot of us think abundance means having a lot, right? But we all know that people with a lot can still feel like they have nothing. And people with very little physical possessions can absolutely live in a state of abundance. Because abundance and faith are so intertwined. And it's funny because in the book for this card, it says, I wrote a sentence down. Let me just find it. Right. That one with abundance consciousness sees the whole experience and learns from the whole experience. So it really does, right? Because it's saying that if you have abundance consciousness, you see the whole experience and you learn, right? This emergence energy of learning through our feelings. We learn from the whole experience. So it really, really ties into all of these energies. So what does this mean, right, in our actual lives? How can we use this advice, right? How can we use this advice from our guides? I really want you to understand this is coming from our guides, right? To positively affect our lives, right? We are being pointed in a direction that in essence gives us permission, right? We don't need permission, but this is like giving us the permission, if you feel like you do, to enjoy ourselves more. Let any masks that you're wearing in your day-to-day life fall off, right? Don't wear these masks anymore, but be in this proud butterfly energy of showing off what makes you special and unique and beautiful, right? Be proud. When things feel overwhelming, right? It's a reminder that we can step back, see a bigger picture, and tap into the faith that this scenario is serving us in some way. And that faith can really help to relieve anxieties that try to take root in us, right? And being able to emerge into the fullness of your being from all sides, like Mary Magdalene, right? She was very misunderstood, right? Because she was embodying all aspects of her divine nature, right? She was living in her duality, like she was a whole being, right? And this can be very intimidating to others. Strong men and women in history have always been controversial, right? But we can't let that cause us to live in fear. When we can embrace the fullness of who we are, right, and emerge from our cocoons so that we are sharing the truth of who we are with others, that's when our abundance comes online. I feel like, I hope we're all feeling ready, myself included. I am included. I'm not picking on anybody. I really hope that we're all feeling ready to accept this message, right? Because it means we're stepping into truly living, right? It says on this card right here, ooh, knocking over my crystals, truly living, right? And that is exactly what we're here to do. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to link the two readings where this card comes up and where this card comes up, right? This came up as the 3 of winter in that reading, because the deck that I was using, it came up as the Three of Winter. And that link is going to redirect you to Instagram. Just putting that out there right now. So yeah, that's it. Have an amazing week. If you do follow my Instagram, look out for the midweek collective reading. Otherwise, I will be back here for next week's collective reading. Irregardless, thank you so much for tuning into this message, and hopefully I will, well, I don't normally hear from you guys. I do love comments and messages. I get a lot more private messages than I do public ones. I totally understand that. But if you are watching, don't be afraid to drop me a message, because I do really love and appreciate all of them. Yeah, but I feel like my natural reaction to say is I will hear from you soon or see you soon, but neither of those are true on YouTube. So I'm going to say bye, and you will be hearing from me soon. All right, bye guys.